Hello, everybody, and happy Monday. Welcome to our weekly Practice Accelerator Challenge. We're so excited to have you on today. Today, we're going to be discussing macros and some muscle building. And so it's going to be a good topic. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. I just wanted to remind you that session 2 is coming up. It's like, what, 6 weeks away? 5?
Yeah.
It's hammer time, y'all. So get registered if you have not registered yet. Virtual attendance will always be an option, of course, but as we all know, the live attendance is so much better. So make sure to hop on, get registered, get your hotel booked, and get ready to party because we've got some good, great education happening. Anyway, how's everyone's day?
Great.
Oh, great. Shawnee and I got some videos on the books that felt good. Those are going to be awesome. And I don't know if you guys have seen Elon's recent interview on TED Talks. Have you seen that, Shawnee or Annie?
I haven't yet, no.
Oh man, you got to watch it. It's so cool just to see his vision. Every time he talks, his vision's expanded to another solar system. I mean, he's talking about colonizing Mars, and he's like, yeah, and then from Mars, we can make it to the moons of Jupiter, and then we should be able to make it to Saturn. No reason why we couldn't go to Venus, but who wants to go to Venus? That's like hell, you know, and it's just like so cool to hear his vision. And then, Chris Anderson from TEDx was asking him about, how he uses his time. And he was explaining that every minute that he spends in critical thinking about Tesla results in about $1 million. So just thinking about the business and problem solving, he was able to have a 30-minute, this happened recently, he had a 30-minute meeting with his financial team on Tesla and found ways of improving revenues by $100 million. So, I mean, the dude's just like a genius, but his vision is so broad. Now he's trying to buy Twitter, and that is going to be so interesting because he said, look, if you're going to edit somebody's speech, he's all about free speech and having an enterprise where people can protect the Constitution or protect the ability to communicate as human to human. But if you're editing something out, be transparent about it and say, like, here's why we edited it out. And here's the algorithm. And if you disagree, put your comments here. And that's true freedom of speech, because obviously you don't want to incite violence over, your tweets and things like that. But there
transparency too.
Yeah, we learned over, COVID, like, man, there was the amount of censorship was incredible. And in the guise of public safety, it's like, well, man, there's misinformation on both sides just being thrown against the wall. So anyway, he's doing some cool stuff. So you guys are going to learn how to piece it in, because you say, well, if we're going to be thinking like Elon Musk to innovate healthcare, well, the whole purpose behind us innovating is, yes, we need to expand our vision. But the other side of that we're going to be talking about that we haven't before in session 2 is the fact that we need to have healthcare that follows suit with this multiplanetary species. You don't want to show up on Mars and have a bunch of chronic diseases, right? You don't want to show up on Mars and have like, oh shit, I need a joint replacement, and we don't even have a hospital here. We don't have surgeons. So we need to be the ones that bridge that gap, and that's what we're going to be talking about at session 2. So you guys may want to get your booties over there.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, awesome.
I've got a whole new promo now for everything.
There you go. You could just splice that
on Mars instead.
Right? Yeah.
$100 million like Elon Musk.
Yeah, because he focused on his business and he spends 30 minutes with his financial team and creates $100 million. How many of our Go Wellness members actually think about their business other than like the day-to-day things that need to get done versus like, okay, this is why I love holidays, is because I'm more creative, and then I can think outside of things and say, okay, well, that's when we put in the Accelerate Wellness program. Christmas 2 years ago, we put in the hacks and created this really robust community. I mean, it's like, yeah, we all need to be thinking about our business if we're going to innovate. And Elon Musk is a perfect example.
Yeah, I think it really enforces one of your core beliefs, Regan. Like you need to be working on your business more than in your business.
Yep.
You know?
So
Yeah.
critical.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got Cade here. Cade, you missed our whole Elon Musk, what would we call that? A soliloquy?
Yeah, I'm a little bit bummed.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm late to the show. Was wrapping up another meeting, but yes, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. Session 2. It's
Innovation is real.
It's coming together. Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to cover today is a piece that's probably missing in most of our programs, and this is muscle mass. And so I'm going to talk to you about how important it is to help your patients gain muscle. So here's one of the fastest ways to prevent aging is to increase muscle mass. So Kate, if you think about muscle mass, what does muscle do for you in your life?
Get sweet chicks. The muscle, it helps us move. Man, it does like everything.
Yeah.
It is like yeah, your movement. That's like the number one thing that comes to my mind, but I also there's like other bodily functions, just urinating.
Yeah, well, we're going to dive into that today because muscle, yeah, we think of it as a pulley system, right? You got muscles that contract and relax, and then we've got push pull. We got all our primal movements, and that's the part that we all go to. But what you'll learn today is that there's far more fascinating things that muscle does. First of all, it's the largest organ in our body. In men, muscle tissue on average is about 45, takes up about 45% of our body composition. In females, it's about 36%. And so it's pretty interesting, but muscles, one of the things they do is they do protect our joints. So if you think about movement in and of itself, a lot of our patients come and they have degeneration. So session 2, what we're going to be focused on is the fact that regenerative medicine is not dead. In fact, it's just as in its infancy. It's in its deceptive phase. If any of you have followed Peter Diamandis, I think he's got the 7 Ds, and things go through this, like in the beginning, they become known, they go from unknown to known, and then they get big, and then they go through the deceptive phase. It's like the internet when there was the big boom in, the late 90s, and everybody was having these .com businesses, and it was like really increasing in value. And then the bubble burst, and then it went into the deceptive phase. And now look at the internet. I mean, who's doing business outside of the internet? I think all of us are, right? So it came out of a deceptive phase. And if you think about, same thing with regenerative medicine is, yeah, in 2021, it was like the FDA says, okay, no more, we want all of the, I think they call them like foul players, or they have some kind of weird terminology, but they wanted to make regenerative medicine real. And so they got rid of all the people who weren't playing by the rules, which is great. But now it still exists. You can still do some of these amazing therapies and get incredible results, but you can't regenerate a joint but not build the muscle. Otherwise, that joint just keeps getting beat up, and you just have to keep repeating the procedure. Muscles optimize immune health. What they do is glutamine is one of the major amino acids that gets filtered and processed by the muscles, and that glutamine goes to supply energy to the white blood cells. So that's amazing. The other powerful thing about muscles is they have over 80% of the glucose receptors in the body that balance blood sugar. And as we know, if you don't have insulin sensitivity in your body is not going to thrive. And so this thing called muscles, is, yeah, we think about it as movement, but it goes so far beyond that. And if anyone wants to live over about the age of 80, they're going to need some muscle mass to go along with them. You don't want to be at 80 and be in complete sarcopenia and not have any muscle mass, or then you can't enjoy your life. Not only that, but you're not going to live as long because you don't have the health. So Kate, does that just little snapshot give you a little more perspective on muscles?
Yeah, just a little bit. No, it's critical.
Yeah, yeah, critical. So here's what else muscles do is they make energy. And so if you guys think, well, no, I thought it was the mitochondria, the cells that make energy. What are you talking about? Well, muscles, remember, this is the largest organ in your body. And when your muscles contract, they're using calcium, they're using myosin, they're using actin, they're using tropomyosin and troponin, and that's all going into this ATP production. And so if you think about just the laws of physics, an object that's in motion tends to stay in motion, whereas an object that's in atrophy tends to stay in atrophy, or an object that's not moving or sedentary tends to stay sedentary. And so one of the biggest and most important things you can do with your patients is remind them that muscle mass is what's building up energy. And so, so many patients have, taken up cardiovascular training and they go run or get on a bike forever, but they don't do anything to build real muscle. And there's really not a big difference between cardio work that you do, where you're just like keeping your heart rate at a certain level. That's, kind of 1990s style workouts. You jump on the elliptical machine in the gym, or you go into any gym, Caden. And how many people do you see on the elliptical or on a treadmill versus lifting heavy objects?
Way more on ellipticals and treadmills.
Yeah,
Well, it depends on what gym you go to, but yeah.
Yeah, but if we're at a hotel, you and I travel a lot, we go down to the gym and it's like, cool, there's one or two people on the treadmill or the elliptical and no one's looking at those weights. They're just like, what do I do with those?
Yeah.
But that's so critical in your care plan, is think about getting your patients some muscle mass. And one of the interesting things we've done with diabetics over the years, we started this in 2015, 2014, is we said, look, the goal is to put on 15 pounds of muscle mass. And if we can do that, if we can raise your testosterone up and put on 15 pounds of muscle, we can reverse your diabetes. And we've seen that in virtually every single case in hundreds of patients we've done this with. And so sometimes you will need to use some testosterone replacement therapy. Don't forget the gonadorelin, kispectin to keep that hypothalamus pituitary axis active. But, then get them lifting weights, lifting heavy things, and you'll see a massive transformation in the body composition and in their overall health. So the other thing that muscles require is protein. And so without protein, you're not going to build muscle mass. And so that's what we're going to talk about today a little bit more is how do we get the right protein ratios to build muscle mass? Kate, have you tracked macros much? Probably seen Jess just go crazy over macros these days, and I've been going crazy over it too, somewhat just on my protein. But how about you?
I've never been really good at tracking like the exact macros. I just look at portions and kind of eyeball it.
Okay, that's the easy way, right?
Yes.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, I know especially if I'm in a growth mode, I got to get a shit pile of protein. That's my main goal.
Yes. And so if you think about and I'll give you everyone some easy ratios, but if you're trying to lose weight, you want to take your body weight and divide it by 12. And what that will show you is how many calories you need. And then for protein mass, you want to do at least your body weight in protein. So let's say you're 200 pounds and then you want to be eating 200 grams of protein minimum just to sustain. And then you want to add a little more on top of that, 10 or 20% based on what you want for growth. And the only benefit that you'd have, Cade, to tracking is you probably realize that you're not eating enough protein. That's what I've learned every time I've tracked mine is I'm like, holy cow, I'm still at like a 30-gram deficit.
So if I'm around 190 and I want to bulk, like if I want to build more muscle, I should be doing at least 200 grams of protein a day.
Hey everybody, Regan Archibald here. I hope you enjoyed the Go Wellness show and maybe learned a couple things you could apply to your practice. If you're a healthcare entrepreneur who wants to work in an academic think tank with like-minded humans who are just like you, looking to provide better service, better quality of care for your patients, reach us at info@gowellness.com and we're happy to do a free practice analysis for you.